Salut tout le monde, I'm your detective, Lukael. Welcome to Her Story. We're all familiar with history, well this is Her Story. This is a game developed by Sam Barlow and released in 2015. I say a game, but I've also seen it described as more of like an interactive movie. Basically, I think it's some kind of police investigation where you have to rely on the live action footage, which I think could be pretty interesting. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you know I love my mystery games, I love my detective games. This sounds like kind of a police investigation, which is why I've got the detective getup on today. But beyond the fact that it's mostly live action footage, I don't really know anything about the game, I don't really know anything about the story. We're jumping into this one blind as per usual. It's meant to be a fairly short game, so I think we should be able to finish it in a single setting, a single video. I've definitely heard kind of mixed opinions about this game. Some people said it was very good, some people didn't really seem to like it. I think with a concept like this one, I can see how it can be a bit divisive. But I guess I'm just gonna have to play it for myself and make up my own opinion about it. So, as always, thank you so much for joining me today, and without any further ado, the game is afoot. So we're straight up kind of like using, I guess, a police database. Is my screen really dirty, or is that in the game? No, I think that's in the game. Someone's screen is quite dirty. Cornerstone. You are logged in. Guest. Enter query to access archived footage. Logic database. Oh, I think you can see like your reflection in the screen. That's kind of creepy. You can see the reflection of the person actually using the screen. Ugh. Search terms. Murder. Clips stored in user session, 232 megabyte local storage used, instant file access. Well, what if I just close this? Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Never mind. I was like, what about this stuff in the background? Okay, you can still look at it. You just have to kind of push this aside. You can log off. Does this also just... Also, you only have to click once. You don't have to click twice, which kind of throws me off. Southeast Constabulary, which I guess is the organization we're part of. Clock. That's not today's date. Not sure what that date is. That's not the current time either, but I guess that's the time on this computer. So we have a readme, really readme. Oh, there's a rubbish bin with some hack information and a mirror game. And the database checker, which I guess is what we're using right now. Database checker. 1 volume missing. Refresh. Okay. So let's read this. Introduction to the Logic Database. Computer technology is the backbone of modern police work. The Logic Database is one of the many continuing efforts to digitize our workflow and preserve evidence in a manner which will allow you to work more efficiently. In the coming years, the computer will continue to be the most valuable item in your crime-fighting toolkit. This database contains footage transferred from the existing homicide and serious crime tape archive at Portsmouth. It has been automatically sorted using our ASR technology. Each statement made by the interview participants is stored separately so they can be tagged for submission to court. The audio has been digitally stenographed, and the content of the testimony is attached to each clip. To retrieve a clip, type in a word, like robbery, into the search field. Click search, and the database will return all clips in which the speaker uses that word. Okay, so it's not about what it's classified as, it's about what word the speaker is using. To narrow a search, use multiple words, robbery supermarket. If you are working from a printed transcript, you can be even more precise. Use inverted commas to search for an exact match against the entire statement. Like, yes, I was there. Okay. To store a clip for later reference, click Add to Session. Also, if you wish to add additional tags of your own to help future searches, please click in the User Tags box and type in your desired tags. That's a bit like Return of the Obra Dinn, where you could put like a bookmark on some stuff. For any further assistance, please contact your department's Information Technology representative. Police Information Technology Organization. Really read me. Hey, here's the database. I filed a Freedom of Information form to get you guest access. Everything seems to work. They transferred the videos off the original tapes in 1999, and then the Y2K thing hit and they got mothballed. No one has touched them since. I couldn't find the server with the detectives' footage on. Possibly those tapes got damaged when the old archives were flooded in 97, but figured this would be enough. Take your time. SB. SB. And then in the trash is some hack information. This reminds me of the old Game Facts guide. Grace hack. Mirror game. Cyber Ghost. You never seen us. One for the mums here. Classic 2-player strategy for lunchtime gaming. Enjoy. And then there's a face. Cracks with class. What is this mirror game? Player 1's turn. Mirror tiles. Player 2's turn. So I'm just playing against myself. And I guess I could like potentially draw something that would be considered a hack. So you keep switching between the two colors. And then you can only put one next to a color that already exists. Player 1's turn. I'm not sure I understand the rules. Like what makes it where you get a point or not? Okay, now this controls all of them. So you're trying to get as much of the screen as possible. There's probably like some kind of secret we can do with this by using the hack info. I don't know. Let's jump into the database. So it starts us with... Can I get this back up? There we go. It starts us off with the word murder, so I guess that's where we'll start. We do have video subtitles, anti-glare filter. Oh, okay. Like this, it looks nice and clean. This is more like immersive. You get to see kind of your reflection. I think I'm a woman. You can kind of see lips and long hair, it seems. But let's get it to look nice and clean. So murder, search. That gives us 4 clips of this woman, and she's wearing different clothes, so they must have been taken on different days. 11 seconds, no tags. At least I haven't added any tags. Add to session or play.
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
Okay. And we have a date for each. This was taken in 94. June 94.
Yeah, that's me. But February, I mean, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
Simon. Okay, we have a name. I'm going to be taking notes while playing this, of course. And then once you've seen them, I guess the little eye icon disappears.
I didn't murder Simon. You've got it wrong. You've got the wrong person. I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
Okay, so all we know so far is I guess she was accused of the murder. They don't have a weapon. And someone called Simon. So let's search for Simon. We got a bunch of clips. Do they show up like in order of when they take place? I think so. This is 717, 718, 720, 725, 25. So they do seem to be in order of like when it happened. So let's see. Wait, 61 entries found. Oh, access limited to first 5 entries. Why do I only have access to 5? Let's see.
Simon Smith. He works
Smith?
at Pence Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature windows.
Okay, and you can control it too. Ernst,
glass.
but I
Simon
can't
does the more special work.
I can't pause it
Mirror
though.
making, feature windows.
Ernst Brothers Glass.
Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature windows, artistic things. Really beautiful things.
Okay.
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. I bought a photo instead of spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
Okay, they went to Rome. They went to Rome in 93. And we also have a description of him. 6 foot, darkish blonde hair. Okay.
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
Okay, so we got the... I do wish you could like pause it.
The Rock.
You can't pause it, which
It's run by a nice
is
couple.
annoying. You have to hold this to pause it. So Rockington Arms.
Rockington Arms.
Rockington
The Rock.
Arms.
It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon
Peter,
likes to drink with,
Susan,
and the barmaid
Helen.
sometimes, Helen.
We've got a few names.
Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
So we've got some names.
Yes, there's an Amstrad one. He uses it
Amstrad.
very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, you know, climb the tower, save the princess, that kind of thing.
Okay, so Amstrad, whatever that is, maybe something about printers, games.
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
Okay, so for now we just get some terms kind of out of context, and it's going to be up to us to restore the context. So we've looked for Simon. What about photo? Because she showed a photo. This one we've seen. This is the same day. And then this one's a month later, or like 2 weeks later.
No, he doesn't have any tattoos.
No tattoos.
He has a scar down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV. He likes TV.
He likes TV. So he needs glasses. He wears glasses. Needs them to read.
Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said.
They were married.
Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long, though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
So Simon was her husband. They were married.
Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long, though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
This is her second mention of a princess. So I can add my own tags, which I guess could describe what's in this. Maybe I should have been doing that this whole time. Should I just add a description for each to be like, this is what this is about? I probably should have been doing that. Then let me take it from the top. I'm going to add a tag to each clip that I've watched. Alright, so is it murder? So here she mentions that was in February. Is that me? So I guess that's a photo of her in February, but that's a few months ago. Here she just defends herself. I didn't murder Simon. Here she just says, I want a lawyer. You have nothing on me. No murder weapon, no nothing. So at this point, they're accusing her. And here she describes their wedding at 17. All right, so now we're caught up. I'm going to be adding tags to all the future clips. Let's look just for Smith, which is his last name.
My name is Hannah. H-A-N-N-A-H.
All right, that's her name, Hannah.
It's palindrome. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it, though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
And then we have their address, 31 Gladstone Street. That's relevant. And then a month later, she's doing, what is this, like a lie detector test?
Yes. My name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Here she's just telling her name while doing a lie detector. Alright, so what if we just look for Hannah? So when you get more than 5 entries, it limits you to the first 5. So you have to be more precise if you want to see all the other ones, I guess.
What are you doing talking about Eve?
Eve. Are you doing like a Morse code thing? She's signaling numbers. She was like knocking numbers. Let's see what number this was again.
What are you doing talking about Eve?
She does.
Talking about Eve.
3, 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 1, 5, 4, 5. So this must be some kind of code. 313 451 1545. I'm gonna write this down. Okay, interesting. This is the same day as the lie detector test, but she's not wearing the stuff anymore.
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
Okay, so there might be 2 women? A twin? Are they twin? So there's Hannah and... Either there's Hannah and her twin sister, or we're dealing with someone who has like a split personality. So... Florence, twin... I was born at the same time as Hannah. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead, except she wasn't, so she... But see, if they were really twin, there's no way she would just look exactly the same, especially if they've grown apart, like, separately this whole time. Okay, I do also like that when you type something, you can hear the little keyboard sounds. That's fun.
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
Something about hiding in the attic. Alright, so what if we look specifically for Hannah Smith? Nothing new. What about Ernst Brothers? Let's just do Ernst. Nothing. Okay, so she just mentions he works there and then never mentions it again. What about Glass?
It wasn't the present so much. It was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror. A nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story.
Again with the princess mention.
He made it specially for me.
Okay, so they had some kind of argument.
It wasn't the present so much. It was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while.
Mirror present, simmering argument.
Well, on his clothes, that would make sense. He made it. By hand. I mean, he brushes the silver onto the glass. That's not how they make mirrors these days. I mean, he made the mirror. And he gave it to me.
Made the mirror.
No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water.
So just about refusing coffee. Let's look for Gladstone, which is the name of their street. Nothing. Okay, so they just mentioned the street once. What about what happened in Rome? Nothing else? Okay, so they just went to Rome. Never mentions it again. What is Rockington Arms? Only mentions it the one time. Who's Peter? Also only mentions Peter once. Susan? Okay. Helen? Helen.
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes. No. But Helen.
He spoke to Helen about arguments. He likes blondes. Okay. What about Amstrad? What is that? Never describes it. Okay. Something about a printer? Nothing. What about games?
Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear. She went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. My mum was amazed.
There ain't no fucking way that you had a twin living in your attic. Like that your own twin just lived in the attic in your house and your parents never noticed. There's no fucking way. There's no way that actually happened. So if she's Eve, it has to be that she has some kind of personality disorder because she looks exactly the same. Like they have the same haircut. There's no way it's two people. Stories of Eve in the attic. Mother never noticed. Likely story. Okay, what about what's on TV? Okay, we get two more things about the TV.
Yes, I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play out there and make up our own stories.
You and your secret twin? So reading TV, dollhouse in the attic. Clearly there's more to this dollhouse and this attic.
Mother wanted me to grow my hair long, but I kept cutting it myself. I wanted to look like my reflection. She always had short hair when she was little. Mother would hide the scissors, but I would find a way. Cut it with a bread knife, something like that. My reflection would always leave her house and go on adventures, but I never could. Mother taught me at home, and I had books and TV. Oh, TV was magical, but it was only on when it wanted to be, so I spent a lot of time reading books.
What a strange person. Okay, so we'll have to look up about books. Her mother. She keeps mentioning my reflection. Is that what you call your twin? Or your imaginary twin? Wanted short hair like the reflection. TV was magical. Alright, let's see about the wedding. Bunch of stuff about the wedding. 6 entries.
I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us.
She does seem very calm and collected. If truly her husband was like murdered, she seems kind of okay. I mean, we don't know exactly when it happened. This might be months later and she's being questioned, but like she seems very calm. So, first dance at wedding.
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday.
Wait, so there's a baby involved? Oh, they were saving for the baby. Okay, so to eventually have a baby, or is the baby already there? Wedding night in hotel in Brighton.
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, you must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
Eliminate me? Right, because she's a suspect, so she's trying to say, oh, I was in Glasgow, so I couldn't have killed him. So there's a watch, there's a Herrick, there's a Diane. You know, obviously this is not a typical game. There's no real... I mean, anything can be a game. I do still consider this a game more than an interactive movie because you're the one interacting. You like, if Return of the Obra Dinn is a game, then so is this, you know, just because it uses live action. I will say it does make me feel like an actual detective because I'm here like reviewing this, taking notes. I'm like trying to make sense of things. It's a lot of fun, so...
No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow. So we were separated again. I stayed in the attic.
There's no way.
It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig.
And what were you eating? Fucking rats?
Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant. But I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers. Drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17. It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
There's no way. Could it really be that she has a twin that like just survived secretly since birth, moved into your attic when you were a child, and then when you married at 17, she was just still living in your parents' attic, going out having sex with strangers? Then you got like an STD? And you wanted to move in with this couple that had just married? Why would you be trying to get pregnant at 17 also? This was for weddings. What about parents? 18 entries. We only get to see the first 5. What's interesting is, like, depending on what you search, everyone will see these clips in a different order.
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
The Rock. Rockington Arms, which is, I guess, the bar they go to. So it was Friday evening. They had an argument. Something about the mirror, but she says no, it was like an argument that had been brewing for a long time. So Friday evening is the last time she saw him. On Saturday, he didn't come back. He was supposed to go help Eric. He never showed. Eric was wandering. She checked at the bar. He wasn't there. They saw him on Friday, not since. Okay.
I got pregnant. Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married.
Okay, so they got married because she got pregnant. So she got pregnant, the parents decided they should marry.
No. I lost the baby.
But then she lost the baby.
I had a miscarriage at 8 months.
At 8 months, ugh.
We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after.
Lost the baby 8 months in.
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents.
Okay, so her parents died.
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back.
She moved back to...
Simon.
Not
Felt like I
Eve?
went back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things.
Keeps mentioning the
We didn't
dollhouse.
sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
Inherited house from parents. Moved back in a year later. And we have 18 entries in total, but I can't see the other ones, so we're gonna have to be more precise. Let's see just Rock, because Rockington didn't give anything. Let's see just Rock. So he went to the Rock right before disappearing. Was the bar.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I guess the Rock. You've spoken to everyone there. Someone must have seen where he went. I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong.
Spoke to everyone at the Rock? That's the last place he was seen?
No, no one has been in the last few weeks. We had a plumber come in 3-4 weeks ago. Someone sang with you from the Rock.
Okay, something about a plumber. Let's see child.
No, it was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when he came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
I know, right? Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. Florence's family. Florence is the midwife. Okay, what about the dress, like the wedding dress?
No, he was as shy as me. I asked a friend to ask him out for me. We had our first date at the Odeon in North End. We went to see Risky Business. I had on my one best dress. Simon paid. He bought me a whisper, and I was worried about getting chocolate on my teeth.
So they had their first date at the Odeon in North End.
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date, we went to see Tom Cruise at the old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me, but that was it. We didn't want another card on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back. After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant.
On the first attempt?
That one time.
Wow. If this is true and like you went on a date with this man and kept switching places in the bathroom with your sister and we're like both dating this one guy who didn't know, that's really fucked up. Like, given we're still missing a whole bunch of information, this could all just be in her head. But if this is true, that's pretty fucked up that she did that. So they were sharing the one guy. That's really weird. Okay, I saw many mentions of princess. 7 entries found. Okay, we got 2 new ones.
Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember well I went over the river. And then there was a church there. Yeah. And I probably parked. Well, I remember seeing a street sign called Princess Street. There it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There.
Okay, that wasn't even Princess, that was just Prince's Street. Okay, so she drove over a river, church, and then Prince's Street. Something about that.
We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the pretty, pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale. The illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures.
Kinky.
Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
Rapunzel, huh? Something about an illustration book, loved fairy tales. Anything else on Rapunzel? A lot about Rapunzel. Huh.
It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her
Is that
hair
what
and
happens in
throws
the
it.
actual story?
Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. So she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind. But she kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
The story of Rapunzel? Why are you talking about the story of Rapunzel in this murder mystery?
Sorry.
Were you trying to recreate like a
Picture,
fairy tale?
The way it's drawn just reminded me of the books we used to read as children. I read those fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite.
Oh.
My brain is just full of it.
That's why there's so many clips of it.
How many of these in colour?
Rapunzel was my favorite. You have a lot to say about Rapunzel.
Did I pass? Sorry, I messed it up with all that Rapunzel stuff. Do you need me to do that card again?
Did I pass? Do the card again? Card of what? What card?
Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
Could the hair come from doll? So they found blonde hair in the attic, and she's wondering if the hair is from a doll. Okay. There's like, I'm collecting so many terms from what she's talking about, like things I want to look up. She mentioned taking a train. Nothing about the train. What about a car? 12 entries about a car. All right.
Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier, and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked in the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back. Yes.
So they share a Cavalier car and a van he uses for work that's owned by Eric, but they both look after it. Then something about the keys, maybe?
I wasn't in the house all of Friday night. After the argument, after Simon left, I left too. I was upset and I wanted to get away. So I took the car.
Okay, so wasn't home on Friday, upset from the argument.
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
Okay. Friday, drove all the way to Glasgow.
I left the next day, Saturday. I slept for a few hours in the car. When I woke up, I came straight back. Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up. I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And I... Is there a bin?
Okay, so she felt like vomiting there. Sorry about that. And then pukes.
Yeah. I pulled over and slept in the car. This was just by the side of the road. I was exhausted.
This is only like a minute later, so you can see she is drinking some more water. And she tied up her hair after vomiting. Alright, so what about February? The first clip, me in February. I guess she's seeing a picture of her in February.
Well, I don't know. I probably had to pop out and get something. That's why I was speeding. And that wouldn't have been noted on my timesheet. But I really can't remember back to February.
Speeding in February? I think if I look up Eve, I'm gonna get a lot of results. 8 entries, mostly new ones. So let's see. This is on the 6th, the 30th of June.
Well, my friend Eve.
Oh, it's your friend
I
now.
mean, she was a friend from when I was a kid. And she was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes.
You definitely have a split personality, girl.
Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater. There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it under. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up afterwards. It was a love-hate relationship.
Clearly. Wild thing to admit to the police, but okay. Tried to drown Eve at the beach.
A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London, and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off, I mean, we'd saved money, pinched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police. So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth. My mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off.
Taxi told police, and then she blamed Eve.
My mother called me Eve.
My mother called me Eve. That's it. And only 8 entries actually mention Eve. What about Florence? This is about the first time she talks about Florence, and she talked about her multiple times in that same day.
Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was
Wouldn't
just
she?
happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion.
Okay, so she was... So if you watch the thing without the anti-glare, do you see the... Oh, yeah, okay.
Florence took me home with her.
Okay, no, I'd rather just see properly. So she was not expecting twins, and then one of these babies was supposedly dead, and you were happy with the midwife to just run away with your dead baby, who was actually still alive and she raised as her own. Lawrence took her home, Mum was glad.
Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror. She was me.
Florence raised me, and then would see her across the street, a reflection. Sounds like a pretty far-fetched story, but who knows, it might be real. This is a long one.
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess. When I
You would
found
kind
her
of have to
diary,
be.
I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers, letters, that kind of thing. her story wasn't there.
Her story mentioned.
I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand. I guess I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that strange? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, you married for life and she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know.
Okay, so Florence, so a war widow in her 20s, never married again, and that's about it. All right, what about this twin business? 4 entries found.
Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question?
Yeah. Twins?
Are you out of your mind?
Are you?
Twins?
Answer the question.
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic.
So much about the attic.
Place. And underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
Magical twins. Like princesses, they were obsessed with Diana for some reason. So not that many mentions of them being twins, even though that seems like a huge thing. What about this diary business?
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing.
So Simon doesn't, but you do.
I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. It helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page. When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left.
Florence, you mean, right?
Walked out and across the street.
I still can't tell if she has like some kind of dissociative personality disorder or if this twin story is real. They look too identical for it to be real, in my opinion, but maybe. So, my mother died when I was 8. And then burned the diary.
It just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them.
Let's say this is true. If you're Hannah, what's in it for you to do this? Like, what's in it for you to just live half of your life with this other girl? And you have to obey all these rules? Like, why would you do that? What's the advantage in living your life this way? You know? So they would alternate each day. They had rules in a diary of do's and don't. What about just dead? 10 entries, all new ones.
Yeah. They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me, I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed.
Your parents?
And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed.
Oh.
Just awful.
Yeah.
It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. And I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's all that matters, really. The baby. Simon's dead, but the baby, that's how he will live on. Our baby.
Is she like bleeding from the nose?
It's all that matters, really. The baby.
I think it's just the shadow.
Simon's dead, but the baby.
Wait, so there's another baby? Are you currently pregnant? Is the baby out there somewhere? The baby?
You're reaching here. Oh, I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon is dead. But I have my baby to care for.
So you do have a baby.
Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing?
And she's asking why are they obsessed with sex and affairs? I'm feeling a bit of projection, maybe?
It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford.
There's 5 more mentions of dead that we can't see.
Rehearsed? You ask me the same question, you'll get the same answer. Is that your evidence? Of course I thought about what happened then. It's all I've thought about. My husband is dead.
Rehearsed. Evidence. Not getting much from this one. What about just death?
They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad taught me that. But, the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone. And no one had any reason to hurt them.
Other than your secret twin, maybe? The dead cap mushroom.
I was living in the attic. It was a very hard time. I was depressed. Was still pretty sick of the STD.
Which STD was that?
I came down one morning. They were dead. They were in bed and both had been sick. They'd thrown up a lot.
So you were in the house when your parents died?
And I'd slept through it.
Multiple days.
The police said it was the mushrooms they ate. Dad was a mushroom expert.
You didn't notice the smell?
He used to take us picking with him and he taught us how to recognize them. There's no way he would have picked dead caps. But the police believe that's what happened. They never even looked in the attic.
Did you poison your parents with... Sometimes I can hear like the police siren and it seems like the screen darkens for a second. I don't know if that means anything. Maybe I'm like making progress or something. So a real possibility here that the parents were poisoned. Okay, what about the dollhouse? We've heard a lot about the dollhouse. Okay, just the 5 queries.
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it. I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories.
You had a lot of time on your hand.
Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise.
What?
We tried to kill it, but it was tough.
Moths don't make
We ended
noise.
up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
That's needlessly cruel, but okay. Alright, sorry, it was getting way too warm in here.
Gave them all.
So, don't know origins of Dollhouse.
The legal stuff was completed very quickly. Hannah moved back in with Simon. Eric gave Simon the week off to help with the move. He decorated.
So Eric was the boss.
Modernized wallpaper curtains. Hannah insists the attic be left as it was, dollhouse and all. Simon never went up there.
Why would he not? So they moved back in, he renovated the house, but Simon never went in the attic. Alright. I still have so many things I need to look at. What about hid, like hiding? No, just the one entry. Let's look at this famous attic. What do you have to say about this attic? 12 entries, but we've seen all of them. Okay. Do you have more to say about this mirror? This mirror that he gave you. 11 entries. Her address. He works at the Ernst Glass. Gave her the present.
The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
Where is mirror? Upstairs? Hasn't looked at it since. Okay, so she doesn't know.
Silverleaf? No. He normally silvers them properly. This mirror, it's supposed to look antique. The reflection isn't as good. It's the perfect mirror for someone who doesn't like to look at their own reflection.
Like you? Silver mirror, perfect for someone who doesn't like their own reflection. Okay, okay. What about wearing clothes?
When will the police let me back in the house? They let me take a bag of clothes with me, but
When will I be let back in the house? I have clothes.
her story is that she'd waited for him to come back.
Her story mentioned?
She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
Excuse me? Throat cut mention? So she put on a wig, pretended to be me. He gave her another mirror, just like the other one. She smashed it and cut his throat. Is that how Simon died?
It happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
Looks like it didn't. Why is the light like flickering? I keep hearing lights flickering in this room. Alright, what about book? Tattoo scar glasses, needs it to read books. Rapunzel was her favorite.
I hoover, I dust every week. Maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust, and she said,
Doesn't have the tattoo.
Tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day.
Maybe it really is
And
two people.
house. You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front. She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes.
Doug?
When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage, and she still has a secret like that.
Who's she? Eleanor.
If people ask, tell them you do it once a week. And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends, and Simon had a part-time job there too.
See here, she has the
That
tattoo.
was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books.
He looks so excited about that. So she worked part-time at the Glaziers. Simon looked like a prince.
Yes. The first time we saw each other, it was strange. We both realised at the same moment, I think.
Your twin?
We must have seen each other before, but there was this instant when we first realised it wasn't a reflection. The reflection was staring back. I think I was 5. It was my birthday. My reflection was wearing a party hat and waving. I knew what party hats were from books. And it suddenly occurred to me, today must be my birthday. I waved back and we just spent ages waving at each other and copying each other's movements.
And you've kept that charade going all the way until now in your adult life? That's insane. Do you think that's something that's ever actually happened? Like, it's something that would totally happen in a story, but to think about something like that actually happening sounds like so implausible. So first met their twin at their 5th birthday. What about mother?
Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out.
What is she being shown? Like, is she shown just a picture, a drawing? Why would you ask her to just describe something? Are they testing to see, like, her mental state?
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother.
Okay, but what about the baby? You said there was a baby.
She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
Like yours, you mean?
Well, she wasn't my real mother, but she raised me. Do you want to hear the story? It's a real-life fairy tale.
You're so playful about it all, even though you're testifying for murder. Like, eventually we're going to have seen every clip, you would think, right? So, even though I still have so many terms I want to look up, eventually I feel like we're gonna run out of new things. So what about this whole thing about reflections? Okay, we've seen most of them.
I wanted to see my reflection. I thought that if I touched her, something would happen. We would become one. One girl.
And why would you want that?
The fairy tale was over, the witch was dead, and I'd be restored to my rightful place.
Wanted to touch her reflection to become one and earn her rightful place. Okay, I was expecting more stuff about reflection. So, Come Back and Stay, which was the song, the first song at their wedding. Okay, just the one thing. And then they went to Brighton. Just the one thing. What about this baby business?
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope.
Okay.
It was after dinner. I'd spoken to Simon's parents on the phone. I looked up for an early night and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff, sad stuff, about when we lived there, about the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff we never needed, and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back, and that's when I saw the bin bags. pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed, and that's when I called the police.
Wait, what? I thought you guys hid the body like together. Isn't that what the other one said? Something about like, oh, we hid the body. We wanted to make sure we had an alibi. Okay, maybe she wasn't talking about her sister. Maybe she was talking about some other woman that was implied in this. So went to cellar, noticed out of place pile. She opened the bag, found the body, called the police, and then of course they would suspect her. That's very strange. This is after she pukes.
Yes. It was a shock to him. I mean, we never thought it was possible. I don't know what he... I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it.
So I guess he learned about the pregnancy, and then they weren't decided on if they would keep the baby. And there are 17 entries about the baby, so we only get the first 5. Okay, there's many mentions of Eric. What about Eric? Who's this Eric? It's his boss, but also probably his friend.
He was wearing a shirt.
What kind of shirt?
It's a blue turtleneck shirt and jeans.
Okay.
He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric.
So Eric is his boss.
A long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house.
So that's a description of his clothes at the moment of the disappearance, I suppose?
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash, but Eric convinced him to get one.
All right. Silver Visa in his wallet.
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
Her cheek is looking a little red, like she's been hit by someone.
Eric was like an uncle to him. Spent a lot of time at conferences.
Conferences. By the way, I don't know if you guys would like to see the notes I'm taking, but like here they are. I'm just kind of writing his description and then like a few major facts like, oh, they married at 17, got pregnant, lost the baby, and then Friday evening they had the argument, went to the rock, she took her car and left. And then I'm trying to keep like a list of names of the people involved, and I have just like a long list of terms that have come up in the videos that I want to look up to see if they lead to anything, you know? Alright, that's it for Eric. What about this watch? Nothing about the watch. What about Glasgow?
Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car.
We've heard this.
I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
Got to Glasgow, slept in the car, got food, called Simon, and then came back.
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
That's an oddly short clip. Like, what's the point of this?
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine.
Convenient for you?
The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
Wait. I thought she got pregnant like back in the day and then she had the miscarriage, but you're saying she was pregnant still when he disappeared? Because that's when she went to Glasgow, right? So like who is this? Is this Hannah? Is this Eve? I don't know what this whole twin business has to do with any of this. One of them mentioned cutting his throat and then deciding to hide the body together, but then one clip also mentions she found the body while looking in the cellar and then called the police. So I'm still not sure what's happening. Alright, what about this Diane?
Diane is really nice. She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there.
Okay, Diane is nice. Christmas party. And they have 2 kids.
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off Seedfax, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
I don't even know what fennel is. Why do you have a guitar now?
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing when they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
Why do you have a guitar?
Simon and Eric, unless it was something to...
Alright, big one. What about sex? All new stuff. 9 entries. Okay, this might be interesting.
Really? You're going to ask me about my sex life? I mean, isn't that private?
Well, we're talking about a dead person here. Like, this could be important. I get that this is a sensitive question, but we've heard about twins and sex and affairs, and like it might be definitely relevant. It could have to do with the motive, you know? I hate to just pull up in here and be, anyway, how's your sex life? But sometimes that's what you gotta do. 6 seconds.
Are you married? How is your sex life?
How's your sex life?
So, our sex life is probably fairly average for a couple after 10 years of marriage.
Okay. Average sex life after 10 years of marriage. They married when they were 17, which means she's now 27.
No! You're talking to the wrong person if you think I'm some kind of slut. If you think I'm the kind of person that would have had sex with all those guys.
Well, someone did. I guess your sister, your twin. I'm no slut.
No, I was 15. Carl was older. 17, I think.
Again with the tattoo.
I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once. It was stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you.
Sure.
Family.
I think this is the first mention of Carl. And that's all the mentions of sex we have. Anything else about the pregnancy? Oh, yes.
Yes, I'm fine. I won't be sick again. This happens some days. I'm pregnant.
Again,
It's morning sickness.
with Simon's baby. I'm pregnant?
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
So she told him she was pregnant on her birthday, and that's it for pregnant. Okay, tell me more about this STD. That's it about the STD. What about this plumber business? Nothing about the plumber. Anything else about Odeon, where you saw that movie? Nothing. What about North End? Nothing. What about risky business? Nothing. What about these conferences you mentioned? Oh.
There was a conference, something to do with double glazing, in Oxford.
Conference about double glazing in Oxford.
Are you sure? What would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference? I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
He was bored and he stayed at the bar. Okay. There was a mention of Wispa. Nothing on Wispa. What about a kiss? So first day they were switching places in the cinema. Hannah broke the rules by sleeping with him, and then she keeps talking about a kiss.
Nothing else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye. Then next week I was singing the bar again, and there he was.
Singing.
And again the next week. He offered to buy me a meal. I told him I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye, he asked me to kiss him. Romantic.
That's pretty romantic to just ask you to do it. Like, can you kiss me? That is romantic.
Yes. I thought about telling Hannah. I felt guilty after the kiss. But then it began to feel like this was the way it should be. Sharing, like we had before. He never mentioned her to me. There was the Simon with me and the Simon with her. It was almost like it was a different Simon. But
You know what would be crazy? Is if Simon also had a twin and they were sharing with you guys. Can you imagine how crazy that would be? Okay, what I'm going to start writing down when I can figure it out is which twin it is on which day. So on this day, on the 3rd of July 94, in the white shirt, that's Eve. Eve.
after the kiss, the next time, he took me back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing.
What do you mean it was definitely him? Who else could it be? What do you mean? He wanted to get caught. Caught cheating? To prove to himself that we were different people. I mean, that's also what I'm trying to figure out.
Completely different to me.
That still doesn't tell me much. Let's look up about Carl.
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit, but he was sexy. We were 15.
Mm-hmm. So Carl was her first, she was 15. This we know. Dated Carl at 15, he was 17. They split up after 6 months.
Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
Okay.
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car.
So this is Eve.
Learned that you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything.
So Hannah passed the
She
test.
is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses. After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze.
I guess.
We used a hairbrush.
Oh.
After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
Okay, well, if you're getting into these kinds of details, then it can't just be a personality thing. Like, it has to be they're really physically two different people with two different bodies, right? Because otherwise the virginity would never come into things. So I guess that confirms they really are just two different people that just happen to look exactly the same. Like down to their hairstyle and like, because I guess they were still kind of switching places. That's crazy. And then she did it with a hairbrush. What a strange moment that must have been. Very intimate moment to share with your long-lost twin. Huh. To be honest, I don't really think that 17-year-old Carl would have really noticed. Like, boys are not the most perceptive, especially at that age. Like, he would probably just do it and not even notice anything. So, she mentioned the... Excuse me? How's it going down there? Are you done? SB? No. Okay, I'll hang a bit longer. Buzz when you're ready. Who is this? Who the hell is this? Chit chat. Okay, I did not know there was a chat. So what about this Ouija board?
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
So they would speak to dead celebrities with a Ouija board, compare dreams, thought it was magic. Interesting pair, huh? What about dates?
Well, fine, considering. I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people had been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. I mean, worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't lived in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in. as good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So...
So she mentioned sleeping with him. What about just slept?
I didn't. I slept in the car. I left about 9 that night. I wasn't there.
Slept in car. Wasn't there.
If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise.
Virginity.
When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull out Hannah's to match. Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night, she had to do the same to me. But she almost went too far. I couldn't see out of that eye for days.
You could have just used makeup, you know?
She snuck a frozen piece up for me from the kitchen.
How nice.
So much of our bodies was synchronized anyway. We started our period on the same day. All our childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits.
How could you possibly just live in the fucking cellar? Like, where would you go to the bathroom? Your parents would never hear someone just walking around in the cellar? Like, this is so far-fetched. So their bodies were synchronized. So tell me more about these rules that you guys had set between yourselves.
Okay. She's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad. I guess she broke the rules. Or maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault.
Or are these like little ink blots?
She looks scared, not guilty.
Just illustrations?
Maybe it was mistaken identity.
Oh.
Did they catch her there?
So she's wearing a ring, I just noticed. So only one of them got married, I think, but then they started like sharing again, at least according to this Eve. So she's looking at the picture, the girl is running away, mistaken identity.
It lasted about 6 months. I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird in a way it hadn't been before.
It was always weird. This is very weird, especially as an adult woman. Like, this should not be going on while you're an adult. Just live your own life. Get your own social security number. Like, this is so strange. All right, there was a mention of a river.
Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic.
She's got like a snake tattoo on her arm. It was very romantic. Okay. I wasn't sure river would give anything. What about the church? Nothing new. Princes?
I don't know if anyone really changes. You just become more yourself. Simon was my prince. And that hasn't changed.
What about violent? Nothing. Story?
Yes, like a story. A beginning, a middle, and an end.
Like a story, beginning, middle, and end.
Well, she has a knife. She's been cooking, I guess. She's been cooking him his favourite meal. She's his wife. And he's asleep and she doesn't want to wake him because he's ill. That's why she's sad. Because he's ill and he might die. It's kind of a sad story, so I'm not sure how it ends.
Why is the police just showing you like random illustrations and asking you what you think of them? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Okay, earlier she mentioned a card, something about a card.
He has a wallet, a huge, silly thing, leather, real leather, I think. He packs it full of stuff, business cards, receipts, lottery tickets. He always carries it in his back pocket. I think that's why he's got a bad back. Offsets the discs. I haven't seen it, so he must have it on him. He always takes it out of his back pocket before, when he comes in, if he's in the house.
Okay, just a description of the wallet. What about this wallet? Nothing else on the wallet. Tell me more about Portsmouth. Nothing. What about these hairs? These blonde hairs in the cellar.
What kind of hairs?
That's it? What kind of hairs? You gonna sing me a little song? 2 minutes and a half.
You want me to play something?
Sure. You never hear who she's talking to.
Okay. Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay. How about a traditional ballad?
Play
Should be right up
Rock
his-
Lobster. He was a rock lobster.
The two sisters came walking by the sea.
Did not even think to look up sister.
Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain.
Just bringing my guitar to the police station to sing a little song.
Both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. But he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain.
Did you write this song?
With a pretty little face and her long blonde hair.
Blonde?
Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
Guitar song about sisters and drowning. Okay, what about key? Something about a key.
Yes, I always pull it shut and then lock the bigger lock with the key.
Always pull it shut, lock with key.
No, I don't think it was. I turned the key, but it was already unlocked.
Wasn't locked.
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper, but he wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly in the living room, nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
So this is just the full recollection of when she got home after he went missing, I guess. Anything else about London? Nothing. Anything else about the taxi? Nothing. What about money? Quite a bit about money.
Sure, I think. I do all the bills and paperwork and handle all the money stuff, so it should be easy for me to find. Do you want them dropped off to you?
She does bills and paperwork.
No. Everyone loved Simon. He's a glazier, he doesn't have much money. I don't know. I don't know.
Here she's basically just saying nobody had a motive to kill him.
If you put me on You've Been Framed, I want the money.
Okay, something about North earlier.
It's like I told you before, I drove. I took the car and drove. I don't have my own car, but I have a spare set of keys. I just drove north. I wanted to think, put some space between me and them. Everything I told you before is true. I stopped at Glasgow. I was tired, exhausted. I pulled out and I hit a car. My car was okay, but I was worried about the baby, so I went to A&E to get the okay. Everything was fine. Slept in the car. When I woke, I tried to call Hannah from a payphone. She wasn't answering. And then I decided to drive back. I had decided that she was more important to me than Simon.
Okay, so the person who was pregnant at this point was Eve, not Hannah. And the person who went to Glasgow was also Eve. Okay, what about just police?
1984 was an awful year in the end. We were living at Doug and Eleanor's. I lost the baby at the end of spring and my parents died in the summer. It was a hot summer, a heat wave. So when they discovered the bodies, it was just awful.
Must have smelled
Because of
disgusting.
the circumstances, them dying together like that, they brought in a lot of police. A forensic entomologist.
As they should
That
have.
up. It was because of the heat.
But the sister was in there with them when they died. It was awful. Brought entomologists because of the heat when the parents died. Okay. Tell me more about Diana. Nothing else. What about divorce? Nothing else. What about the future? Nothing else. What about fuck? Bunch of things about fucking. Oh, she's getting up. She's leaving. Uh-oh. Might have struck a nerve here.
Yes. I speak with Eleanor at least once a day. Not that there's anything much to say. It's more just...
Drops coffee on self?
No, I'm okay. Fuck.
Okay, that's the next day.
Can I leave? Are you going to arrest me? No. They'd laugh you out of the building. A lawyer would make mincemeat of you.
She's getting kind of agitated now. So she gets agitated. Are you arresting me? And then a lawyer would laugh at you. And then this is just seconds later, she leaves.
Are you arresting me? No. Fuck off. Open this door.
What about cheating?
Mum and Dad never knew what was going on. And got so good at it. We were so in sync that we'd use each other to cheat. If one of us had a hangover, the other one would go to school. Whoever was best at a subject would sit the exam. There were lots of differences between us. Some things one is better than the other at.
Okay, tell me more about this affair. This is a big one. Mentions of an affair.
An affair? Simon wasn't having an affair. What did your wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him.
Doesn't sound very convincing to me. Didn't kill Simon because of the affair. I wasn't there. I was in Glasgow worrying about the baby, but we're getting closer. Like, it's touching a nerve. What about wife? Nothing we haven't seen. Secret?
When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book. The knock code.
Yeah.
Something prisoners of war would use.
Like you did earlier.
We tap them out on radiator height or the attic floor. Dad thought we had mice, but they couldn't find any. Bought a cat anyway.
That's a real skill you would need to learn. This is going to be relevant for sure. So what's the number she taps here? Okay, so this one is 1 2 5 4 1 4 2 3 1 1 3 3 3 3 1 1 3 3. The knock code. to send each other messages. So they both learned it. How weird. Oxford, nothing. Expense, something about a business expense? No, nothing. What about evidence? The song again? Gonna sing me another song?
Okay. Here's the rest.
Oh, is the rest of the song?
Laid a body on the doctor. All the wind and the rain. Till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by. All the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair. All the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair. All the dreadful wind and rain. And he made fiddle pegs of her finger bows. All the wind and the rain. Yes, he made fiddle pegs from her finger bows. All the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone. All the wind and rain.
It's pretty fucked up.
The sound could pierce a heart of stone. All the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was all the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune that the fiddle could play was all the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
Well, she did mention she was a singer at the bar. It's nice that we get to hear someone actually clapping, which means like it's the first kind of sound that someone else is in the room is making to show that she's not just alone in this room. Part 2 of guitar song. Okay. What about did your parents get poisoned? Uh-oh.
At the time they said it was poison, food poisoning. I mean, I felt so guilty. If I'd still been at home, maybe I could have done something. I didn't.
They said it was food poisoning. If I'd been there, I could have done something.
I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us. There's always been pressure.
What does that have to do with Simon? Okay, you know what? Tell me more about these mushrooms.
No. The whole thing was wrong. The bags, I think they were from our kitchen. You can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
So I guess this is about when she found the body in the bags in the cellar. Anything else about this moth that you guys killed? No? What about Arabian Nights? No? What about putting on a wig? Lots of stuff about this wig.
A wig? You mean... But what type of wig?
What type of wig? These very short clips are the most suspicious to me. It's like they're very short, so they have to be kind of important, you would think.
No, I've never worn a wig. What kind of wig?
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs? I've never worn a wig. What kind of wig?
This other person doesn't exist. I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap?
The what? The cat flap? No other person, blonde wig, cat flap?
This was about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing and she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left.
You could potentially just write a timestamp for each clip as a tag, and then you could kind of like watch them in order, but like it would be very time consuming and I'm not sure how much it would really help.
This was...
I was expecting more about the wig, because clearly the wig is like important, but okay. This is a big one. What about this throat being cut business?
His body did not real. And his throat. It looked like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. He has these thick glasses. He doesn't always wear.
I mean, I'm sure seeing like a dead body, especially if it's been cut or something like that, it would look not real. It would look like, you know, like a wax sculpture or something, because it's lost all life, it's lost all color. It must be very creepy. His body didn't look real, his throat had been cut, no glasses. This is the mirror.
How?
Right, because there must have been... Because she said she cut his throat with a shard from the mirror.
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood.
You can hear like seagulls outside. Okay, this is kind of important. She says it was around 3. This is like important. What about just cut? Okay, we've seen all of these. Tell me more about the cellar. Seen all of these. Alibi? Shit. Body?
The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes.
Is that your
I
excuse?
don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body.
I guess at this point she hadn't really talked about the twin stuff.
Can you imagine? I tried. I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen.
Because you wanted to both be pregnant at the same
So
time.
many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had. I was pretty ill. I mean, how could we stay the same now? I felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths.
What's wrong with that?
we had become different.
Couldn't become pregnant. Couldn't become pregnant, slept with a bunch of dudes, they had become different. Tell me more about his watch. Nothing about the watch. What about Doug? I still don't know who Doug is.
Yeah. I've been round to Doug and Eleanor's and they're very worried. I feel sorry for them.
That's it? Okay. Doug and Eleanor are worried. What about cigarettes? Nothing. Who is this Eleanor? Glazier?
A mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the Glaziers, but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle.
I've been recording for like over 3 hours at this point. I don't know how much more footage there is. I don't really feel that much closer to solving the... When you look up how long this game takes to beat, it says 2 to 4 hours, but like I've been watching videos for like 3 full hours, so there's no way you could beat this. And I mean, I guess you could in less time, but you wouldn't have seen every piece of footage. Okay, what about... Oh, wait, there's still one I haven't seen.
I did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the Glaziers.
Okay, what about confess? Shit, nothing. Sarah? The name you would have given the kid? No, nothing. Ava? Still nothing. What about school?
Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I took care of paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though. I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till.
What about this chit-chat thing? Like, you can call? Nope, not yet. Can I say, like, who are you? No, I can't say anything. Alright. Hospital?
Ask the hospital.
That's it. Ask the hospital.
I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital?
What about Cefax? Nothing. Grossman? Nothing. Fennel? Nothing. Guitar? I don't know why you brought a guitar.
No, Simon didn't play guitar. He wasn't very musical. He liked to listen, but he was tone deaf.
Okay, Simon didn't play guitar.
Yes. Yeah, it's my guitar.
Yes, it's my guitar. And then you brought it for some reason. What about family? Nothing. What about Carl? I've already looked for... What about sick? Nothing. Sing? Nothing. Bar?
So I moved out. Got a small bed set. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
Do you have a social security number? So I moved out, was singing in bars, got a tattoo, I don't exist.
He saw me singing one of my shows. Pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was. But he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo.
You tattooed your own name?
Like that would impress me.
Oh, because it's like an apple and a snake, because she's Eve.
It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married.
Red flag.
I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming.
Okay, but he can't just think this is like a coincidence. If you're this guy and you just run into a woman that looks exactly, like literally exactly like your wife at a bar, I would just think it's her, but she's got a split personality or something. I wouldn't think it's someone different. I mean, okay, she has the tattoo, so that kind of differentiates them, but still, like, it couldn't just be a coincidence. I would be like, I didn't know my wife had a twin. Like, of course that's what you would think. All right, so here's what I have so far. They were born separately, and then the midwife took Eve while Hannah went to live with her parents, and then at some point, when she was like 8, I think, Florence, the midwife, died. I guess she snuck into the house, and from that moment on, they started like sharing a life. So one would go to school, the other would stay in the cellar, and then they would just like keep switching, going to each other's exams, just sharing a life, talking in code with the knock. And then even as they kept getting older, like even when they were 15, like one would have a crush on a boy, the other one would flirt, and then one lost her virginity, then they had to both lose their virginities, and then I guess this kept going until they met Simon, at least until Hannah met Simon. Then she was actually in love, so she didn't want to share, and she got pregnant right away. And then they had like the wedding. The parents decided they should have a wedding. At this point, Eve was still living in the cellar. And so I guess from this point on, only Hannah was seeing Simon, and Eve met him just accidentally because he saw her in a bar. And then at some point they had an argument. It's very, very similar to the plot of a movie. I don't want to say which movie because I don't want to spoil it. It's a really good movie. But if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, right? And so it's probably very similar where there was where like they wanted to share the same guy, but they didn't really want to. And then one of them got mad and either wanted to avenge her sister or like got jealous and then killed him. It has to be something like that. And so one of them got pregnant. She tried to get pregnant like her sister, but she couldn't. Even though she was sleeping with all these guys, it wasn't working. And then, like, what happened with Simon? That's the part where, like, I'm not sure. Beach, nothing. Romantic? Nothing. Virgin? Nothing. Virginity? Okay. Dream? Nothing. Magic? Speak to dead celebrities with Ouija board, compare dreams, magic.
I think it was that time, the first time at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant. Amazing, right? This fucking magic sperm. And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods. I had pretty irregular periods anyway, but 3. I had always thought we were infertile. Both of us. I didn't tell him. Just waited. Hannah and I were meeting for our birthday, and I told her because I thought she would be happy for us both. I think she was.
Okay, so I guess they both were seeing Simon, but they were still pretending to be just one person. I guess they were both pretending to be Hannah. And then eventually she grew to be kind of protective and not wanting both of them to share him. And so she just went on to live her own life, but he did still eventually met her in this bar. Okay. What about compare? No. Blood? That's a big one. There was a lot of blood everywhere. Oh, okay, here we go. We got some new stuff.
Okay. I've given blood before. Do you need to take that for your records?
Oh, they're gonna do a blood test, I guess, to make sure they're not the same person.
Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The blood. It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Okay. Blood. Worst thing that's happened to me. Just seeing the blood or what? Is she talking about finding the body or is she talking about the miscarriage?
She was sat behind him. She had my wig on. And she'd been there all day. And she had blood on her. And she was in shock.
Okay, what about a funeral?
Yes, it was a cremation. For the best.
This is after?
We both wore black and had veils, so it was easy.
You both
After
went?
the funeral, everyone came back to the house. Hannah served up sandwiches, and I stayed out of sight.
What about period? We've seen everything. What about the knife? Nothing. Meal?
It was my birthday, like you said. We were going to have a meal at home. We had our meal. He gave me his present. I guess I didn't like the present.
Okay.
From when I woke up. Okay. I woke up. Simon was already up and he made me birthday breakfast of eggs Benedict. We both had to go to work, so we saved presents till later. I got to work, had some birthday cake, children sang me happy birthday. Then I came home. The birthday meal was a takeaway, and Simon gave me his present, which I didn't mind. And after that, we talked about the baby. It turned into a big argument. Simon left. I was furious. I wanted to get as far away as I could and get some space to think. So I left.
Okay, this is pretty much like the full testimony of the last night. So here, again, they have the same birthday. Maybe, like, he knew there were 2 of them, so he gave each a mirror. And one of them was like, oh, this is fine. But the other one did not like the gift and then smashed it and killed him. But like, if it's one of her that killed him with the mirror, why would you just admit that to the police? Also, these are taking place in different rooms. I'm noticing. This is empty room 3. This is int room. So this is like interrogation, and then this is... I don't know. Okay, what about being ill? Nothing. Receipt? Nothing. Lottery? Just all stuff she's mentioned. I'm just checking. Sister. When will you actually admit she's your sister? They have never used the term sister once.
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had.
Can you imagine this guy's reaction being told that? Like, what do you mean I made her pregnant?
The look on his face.
Imagine you're this Simon and you're told this by your wife. She's like, oh, by the way, like, I've had a sister this whole time and you've been spending time with her, because sometimes when you think it's me, it's actually her. And you got her pregnant, so you know what? I think she should move in with us and like we should all live together. How about that? The guy must be like, what? Excuse me? This one feels very important. Add to session. I don't know how many I can like store. Okay, and then what?
She sent him out of the house, kicked him out, called me up, crying, and I went round. I guess I had a feeling I could hear something was wrong in her voice, but I wasn't sure what it was. She called me sister on the phone. She never calls me that.
Yeah.
My sister is gone. And she's never coming back.
Excuse me? What do you mean? I'm still not 100% convinced it's not just the one person. And this is just some elaborate mental gymnastics to like deal with some trauma, you know? What about drown? You've talked a lot about drowning, no? Lock?
Yeah, I had to let myself in. The door locks if it swings too.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house. I knocked on the door. No answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack.
I feel like I've seen this
I
one.
shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing.
I've seen this one. How come it's left blank?
Pretty clear he wasn't there.
I didn't answer it. Yeah, I've seen this one. I guess I didn't write anything for it. So this is the full testimony of Simon not being home, then coming to the police. I've watched this one. I don't know why it looked as if I didn't watch it. Unless maybe they both rehearsed like the same testimony and told it separately. Maybe. What about shoes? Nothing but shoes. Kitchen.
Bruce. Oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen and the chair slipped and I kind of hit the door with my face. I mean, it hurt like hell.
Bruise? Yeah, what about bruise? No, nothing? Bedroom?
In the bedroom?
That's it?
That can't be right. In the bedroom?
That can be right. What is she? It's so weird that all these clips is only of her answers. Like, none of it is about what is being asked of her. Okay, what about just bed?
I sleep on the right side of the bed as you come in from the door. You can tell because I have 2 pillows and he just has 1.
Right side of bed. Is this important? That has to be important. I'm slowly running out of words to look up, and I'm still seeing new stuff. Phone?
Sure. Yes, of course, if that would help. Will you phone the house to let me know when you want to come round? Then I can make sure that I'm there.
Phone so I can be sure I'm home when you come. She mentioned a few times, like, you're gonna talk to my lawyer. What about a lawyer?
Yes, I understand my rights. No, I don't need a lawyer.
This might be post-confession. Don't need a lawyer.
Yes, no lawyer. What are you going to arrest me for?
What would you arrest me for? Speaking of arrest...
Like I said, I think I was popping out to get something, ran out of something, had to grab something. I sometimes drive too fast. If you want, you can arrest me for that. This is a nicer room. This is where you take people when it's time to arrest them.
Okay, so this is the first clip in interrogation room. Interesting.
Can you arrest someone who doesn't exist?
Yes, we can. If you don't have a social security number, one will be provided to you so we can arrest you for murder. Fiddle? No fiddle. Wind? Rain? No? Number? No number. Okay, what about this code? Tell me about this knocking code, no? The cat flap? She mentioned something about a cat flap.
No, they were shut. Most of the windows are really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door.
Do you have a cat? Okay, so windows were closed.
No, no cat. My parents had a cat before they died called Domino. It was this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it.
Cat?
We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other.
Huh.
Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway.
Would your handwriting be the same? Do twins have the same handwriting? I don't think so. I don't... Unless you really practiced at it, but even then, I feel like you would never have the exact same handwriting as someone else. That sounds very weird. Especially if they didn't really grow up together initially. Okay, tell me more about these notes. No, nothing? What about domino? No. I'm running out of words. Mobile phone? No. A lot of stuff about the birthday.
Yes, that's my birthday. Not one of the big ones, but I guess you can see that.
My birthday.
A week or so ago. It would have been the Saturday before my birthday. You know, I get like that on the weekends, have a lie-in, then want to get up and blitz the house.
She looks similar in these two, but this is actually like a week later, like 5 days later.
You know, I get like that.
I have now run out of words that I wanted to look up. So, what do I do now? What about this snot code? Which clip did she do the code? It was this one. Eve?
What are you doing talking about Eve?
Are you trying to like snap out of it or what? And what's with the code? The knocking is not registered as something that I can look up, so I can't look up every clip in which she taps. So like, I'm not sure where to go from there. Like, had sex? Oh.
I wouldn't say that. It could be passionate. It's just, it was more than that. It wasn't just sex like I had been with the other boys.
Wasn't just sex like with the other boys. What does that mean? What about trauma? Which you clearly have a bunch. What about therapy? Did you ever get that? No therapy? Okay, what about blonde wig? No? She was sat behind him. She had my wig on. She had been there all day. She had blood on her. She was in shock. What about kill? Tried to drown Eve at the beach. I didn't kill Simon because of an affair. I wasn't there. I was in Glasgow.
I mean, what if they were crazy? You hear about these crazy people all the time. I mean, why would anyone who knew Simon want to kill him?
Okay, you know what? Tell me about this tattoo of yours. It's an apple, right?
Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake.
Yeah, like Eve. Anything else about a snake? No? My tattoo? No tattoo? Okay, I need to look more into like this shard of mirror. Shard? Because she says she smashed the mirror? Smashed? She'd waited for him to come back, put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. He took out a present, another mirror, just like the one he'd given her earlier, that unique present. Okay, so she pretended to be Eve, and he gave her the same mirror, which was supposed to be unique. And so that's why she went crazy, smashed the mirror, they argued, screamed, he hit her. She grabbed a piece of the mirror, swung it around, cut his throat clean open, only meant to scare him off.
Like I said before, it was 3.
So she just found his body, but then the other one said she found him in the bag. So she's the one that disposed of the body. The other one just killed him? How many clips can I add to the thing, I wonder? This is taking much longer than I thought. This is going to be a really long video. I apologize. Yeah, I have like 4 hours of footage at this point, so it's not going well. She keeps saying, I don't exist. I do not exist. But it doesn't lead me to anything new that I haven't seen. Basically, at this point, I'm wondering how many of the clips have I seen? And what else do I have left to see? I have like a vague idea of what happened, but what about time?
A long time. We got married when I was 17.
Okay. What gets me the most is these very, very short clips, because it sounds like it's something important, you know? Even if I figured out exactly what happened, I don't even know where I would like enter this information to... Oh, this is like a different thing. Database checker. Oh, okay, it tells you which one you've seen or not. 1 volume missing. Okay, I guess that shows you which ones you've seen or not. Interesting. Okay, well, I don't have that many more to see. I've seen like most, but there's still a lot. Shit. Is there one where she just says hello? No? What about my name is... Oh.
My name? That was the only question I failed. Your lie detector works.
Right, she did the lie detector thing. I forgot about that. Let's check out the lie detector. Just lie. Okay.
Yes. I'll take a lie detector test.
I'll take lie detector test. And then if I refresh... Aha! So in yellow, is that the last one I've seen?
I've never taken a lie detector test before. Does it really work?
Yeah, it's right after. Okay, so this whole lie detector sequence I'm missing. Okay, something about the baby. Miscarriage. Let's ask more about that. Okay, there's some new stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after the miscarriage because of complications.
I thought I was infertile. What would be nice is once you find them, you can click them and like just watch them in order, right? It's like you unlock them in the right order. I guess technically you could watch all of them back and give them a number in the database so you can like watch them in order, right? But it would take a really long time. Okay, let's see. How many clips are there in total? I can deduce it now. It's a total of 271 clips that we have to see. And this one we just watched, this was number 150. So I could just number them from now on.
Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again.
And you're happy about that?
But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Derek had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then...
Okay, this was... Boop! This one. That's 247. Like, I wonder what specifically I'm trying to see at this point. There's still so many clips we haven't seen. The whole lie detector test we're still missing. Like, how... What are they gonna ask her? I want to see... What about split personality? No? Split? Disorder? No, nothing? Okay, so I guess there really are... I still have a doubt. Morning sickness? Oh.
It was late. Early Saturday morning.
This is turning out to be quite difficult. Saw...
She's crying, I guess. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman. But it's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. And so it's fine.
Wait. Hang on. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman. But it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. What weird coping are you doing here? Yeah, what about brothers? Anything else about brothers? No? Shit. There's like some weird shit about cheated. Oh, cheated. Okay, there we go.
No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon.
Okay.
Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday.
Okay, yeah, it's the day after, so this is the same person? Wait, no, it can't be. Oh, see, it's because they must be collaborating so their stories fit. Because see here, she has a tattoo. Here, she doesn't have it. You asked that question yesterday. But it's way later. Oh, clever girl.
Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can.
We were devoted to each other. So at this point, she's pretending they're the same person. Maybe because she only told them about the twin thing later. But look at that. This is way late in the interrogation. So she got really agitated about the affair. Woman. Another woman?
No, Simon wasn't seeing another woman.
Like, look at all these things I've searched for. I have so many. Like this whole section here that I'm missing. That's the lie detector test, but I don't know what would they be asking her. Different.
I thought it made me sound suspicious. It's not a normal thing to do to drive to the other end of the country. I wanted to keep it simple. I knew it was stupid not to tell you everything. Saying I spent the night in Glasgow when my husband went missing, I thought it would, distract you from what was important. It's different now. Now he's...
So here she gets agitated. Are you arresting me? And that's on July 2nd. And then on July 3rd, again, is it because they're arresting both of them? This is in two different rooms. What about the rooms? Interrogation. Detective. Ooh.
Childhood sweethearts. Something like that. Are you married, detective?
This is one of the first ones. Basically, it's when she's addressing the person directly.
No, it's okay. The other detective has just gone to get me one.
The other detective.
Must think it's very cool that their dad is a police detective.
Showing her the badge. Why? Coffee. Oh.
A black coffee, thanks. No sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is.
Coffee, thanks. There it is. That's number one. That's the very first clip. Coffee, thanks. Okay, we got the first clip. Number one in June 94.
About 8 years back. It was a present to myself. I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
One volume missing. So out of all of these, there's still one that's missing. And how do I get to see it? Is it by finding, like, is it by witnessing every other one? I don't know if it's going to be possible for me to see every clip, because there's a lot. And once you get to the last few ones missing, like, I don't know. Drink.
No, not drugs. I mean, he drinks, but never very much. He goes to the pub and has 1 or 2. Sometimes we go together. He drinks wine with food, but no, he doesn't have any kind of drinking problem.
What about drugs? No? Medication? Pills? No? I'm just searching for anything at this point, like... Old.
You must be desperate for leads if you're getting hung up over 6-month-old speeding tickets.
So they're looking into her old speeding tickets, looking for leads. Do I not have any leads? Speeding? Ticket?
I remember the ticket, of course. I paid it without telling Simon. Didn't want to get told off. And they put points on the license.
Did they, like, did both girls share a license also? Fingerprints. Whoa! Bunch of stuff about the fingerprints. Let's go.
Fine. I've never had my fingerprints taken before. I once put my hand on the oven.
Ah. Maybe they burned their fingers so they wouldn't be able to match their fingerprints.
Fingerprints.
Okay, maybe I'm onto something. Fingerprints?
Yes. Yeah. I would have cleaned them. I changed the sheets too. With the fingerprints in all those places. Could they have been my parents' fingerprints? I'm not sure how long they last for, but is that possible?
So they found fingerprints and they're trying to figure out whose they are. And do they not match hers? There it is. We're slowly completing that.
Really? Go on then. Take the cup. Run your fingerprints. They'll match. Fucking do it.
So they're still pressing her about fingerprints like later. Because this is a few days later. See, now we're all the way down here. So they are accusing her about the fingerprints. What about accuse? Match? Fingerprints match? So she gets accused, and then after, that's when she agrees to take the lie detector. My name? Yeah, she says my name. Fail? Hours. I'm just going with random words just to see if I find anything new at this point. You know, minutes. We've already seen the final clip at this point. I wonder which one it was. I think this is the final session on the 3rd of July 94 when it's Eve. This is the final session. This is it. This is okay, so this is the end. That's this. This is at the end when she tells this story.
Like I said before, it was 3.
Was 3. Now she's talking about finding the body. What about when they're like, will you arrest me? Like the, do I need a lawyer thing? I want a lawyer, you have nothing on me. Okay. So when she says that, that's the last one. Okay, okay. So that's the final one. You have nothing on me.
I have nothing.
No murder weapon. Stories. Yeah, what about the weapon? You have nothing on me? That's the last thing she says. So at this point, we've seen the beginning and the end. What about person? Ooh.
Suicide? No. I mean, he would never do anything like that. He is not the kind of person to do anything like that. I mean,
You can
to hurt
never really
himself?
say that.
No. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm quite a private person and I didn't want to get into the detail of the argument.
Yeah, tell me more about this argument you guys had. Ooh, how did I not look up argument until now? Let's see. Had an argument on Friday, didn't show up on Saturday, job with Eric. Okay, so this is part of that first testimony where they talk about the argument. Then this is probably...
No.
No, this is number 10. Spoke to Helen. He likes blondes. This must be 11. This must be 12.
There's no couple stuff. A stupid argument. Nothing specific. No one knows how to push your buttons better than those you're close to.
Yep, that's 11. It was a stupid argument. 12.
No. I mean, yes, we have arguments, but he never runs off. He always comes back. We make up. It's always that way.
This is 12. Yep. And then this is much later.
Yes. He left after the argument. It was about 8 o'clock.
Okay, we fought. Fight. Question.
This is the 3rd day running you've called me in. I speak to Doug and Eleanor every day. And they say you've been asking a lot of questions. About me. Should I be worried? Am I a suspect?
Yes, you are, absolutely. Speaking of suspect... Aha!
When you suspect someone of murdering their husband. Okay. So you want to eliminate me as a suspect?
Yes. And this must be 78.
That should eliminate me as a suspect. If I was in Glasgow, can't be in two places at once.
Well, you can if you have an exact twin. Whoa, okay, that's way later. I'm just looking up a bunch of random words at this point.
I wasn't in the house.
One new one.
Fairy tales. Stories about lost princesses, evil witches, magical mirrors, and lost children. So you see, even before I knew the truth, I'd found it in those stories.
Okay, let's see more about the truth. Truth. They keep talking about fairy tales and like, what about evil? A witch. Idiot, like she called the guy earlier. No, just the one time. Run your fingerprints, idiot. Where would they have found fingerprints? Bedroom? On the mirror? I'm getting to a point where I'm just kind of looking at random, like, common words. You know, it's like playing... It's kind of like playing Wordle, where you're like, okay, what are the most common vowels that it could be? And here I'm like, what's the term that would most likely be used? Did. See?
I think so. I mean, to get into our garden, we'd have to climb through other gardens. All the gardens back onto each other, so you'd have to climb over 1, 2, 3 gardens to get to ours. I mean, did anyone see anything? Did anyone see anyone come and go? An intruder?
Will, can, cannot. Should. Maybe. Oh, see? Got something on the maybe.
I don't know. Could be anyone. Maybe someone followed him back from the pub. But why would he let them in? Doesn't make sense.
Someone. Anyone.
Simon was very moral about that sort of thing. He wouldn't just walk out there and sleep with anyone. He wasn't that kind of guy. He took his marriage very seriously.
This is gonna be such a long video. I really feel lied to. How Long to Beat said this was 2 to 4 hours, and I'm way past that at this point. I'm searching just anything.
Yes, this is it. He made it himself. It was a special one-off.
No, it's not. He made 2.
He made it. He decorated it. That's his thing. Where did you find it?
Yeah, where did they find it? I wonder what this hack thing is for. Hashtag GAC? What if I had typed this? Why would they have this little like mini game in here? Like, can I actually do something with this? Why would they have this in here? Is there like some code you can do by drawing like a picture? Help! Okay, the only thing you can type is no. You can only type yes or no. You can't type anything else. Nope. We had to share bruises. Speak to dead. Like, I have a good idea overall of what happened, but like, I'm still looking for the exact, you know, the exact details. 1, 2. I'm just gonna write a bunch of numbers. 3. Ah, see, I might get something new.
I think when I drove back, it was about 8 or something. And I got back to the house about 3.
Okay, I mean, that's something new. 4. We're just gonna write every number. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. I mean, we're getting clips for almost every number, so... Oh, see?
When you've been married for 10 years, stuff accumulates. We could argue about anything. And he's so nice. That doesn't help. He tries to smooth things over, and that just makes it worse. We're both passive-aggressive, so we never normally argue directly about anything. Good. Happy. I mean, ups and downs like any couple, I guess, but we've been married for over 10 years.
Brown hair. Black hair. Oh.
Oh, tastes fine to me, as long as it's black
Oh,
and strong.
she's talking about coffee. Black coffee. I mean, we're still filling out the thing, so...
Black, no sugar. Thanks.
And I guess you get to kind of see if they have different tastes in coffee.
Black, no sugar.
Black coffee again. But like, how do you beat this game? Do you just need to have seen specific clips? Or do you need to have seen every clip? Or like, do you just need to quit? Like, do you just decide, okay, I guess I have a good idea of what happened, and then you say you're done and you leave, and like, do I roll credit? Or do I need to have seen specific clips in order for the game to be over? Like, I don't actually know. It's kind of like talking about speeding tickets and driving, and like, did you sleep at the hotel?
And the hotel said he was there?
You could.
I mean, I don't know. Something must have happened to him on his way home. He could be hurt. I mean, why hasn't he phoned? I don't know.
I'm typing like just basic pronouns.
I haven't been into work. I guess I've just been waiting to hear from you, hear from my husband.
I will say it would really help if once you see a clip, you can just rewatch it from this database, because then you could... I think it would be fair if once you've found a clip, you get to see them in order to like make sense of what happened, because at this point I've seen over like 200 clips and I have like a vague idea of the order of events and what happened, but like it's gonna be really hard to actually arrange them in chronological order in my head. I really didn't know what to expect by going into this game, so this is all, you know, my legitimate first time reaction. It's a bit confusing for sure. It's a very unique concept.
I mean, I guess it just...
Haven't been to work, waiting to hear from you or husband.
Okay. I'll try my best to remember.
I don't know if this is a good game. It's an interesting experiment for sure. I feel I would want a bit more like quality of life. Getting to see them in order would be nice. Maybe they thought it would be too easy. I don't know. Is there some stories? Oh,
Okay. Sounds weird. I'm not great at making up stories.
my baby. Our baby. Her baby.
Then she told me she wanted to help more. She said I should move in with her. She would come clean with Simon about me. I was family. I couldn't have a baby in a bedsit. I told her I didn't want to tell Simon. Told her to wait for the time being.
Interesting. Family, huh? Tell Simon.
No. I told her it was one of my boyfriends, someone I had met in the bar. I think she was happy. But I could tell she was thinking, why couldn't it happen to her and Simon? They were the ones with the real life. Why not them?
So the sister was like upset, jealous that she got pregnant and she couldn't, and she got pregnant from Simon, but she thought she was infertile. And then her sister got pregnant instead. This has to be code for something. Maybe it's a word? This freaking number has to be code for something. She wouldn't just tap random numbers, but if they have their own code, how would I translate it? I've looked for a phone, mobile phone. Did they film something? Like a camera?
Just the one sugar. Thanks. Is that camera recording?
Yes, it is. Is camera on? Yes, it is.
Is that camera recording?
Yes, it is. I really want these clips of the lie detector. Like, that's one long strip that I'm missing. What is she talking about here? Sugar.
A cup of tea would be good, thanks. Just one sugar.
Oh, it's tea now, not coffee. Tea with sugar.
Coffee, I guess. Milk and sugar.
I guess one of the main goals is you're supposed to guess like which one is Eve, which one is Hannah based on like their clothing, what they're drinking, what they're saying, but like without being able to review every clip, I don't think I'm really going to be able to do that. Except the obvious clip when she says like, oh, Hannah was doing that, so she's like talking about someone else. How come sometimes you're drinking tea, sometimes you're drinking coffee?
Could I have a cup of tea?
I mean, when you don't see the tattoo, that's Anna. So this is Anna, this is Anna.
Maybe a fresh cup of tea?
Tea again. One of them likes their coffee black, and then one says with milk and sugar. Actually, you know what? I'm fucking stupid. The number is already in the title. They're already numbered.
No.
Wait, no, now it says 122, and it's at the... Okay, maybe they're not numbered then. I thought there was the number at the top. What's the number then? $187. Here it's 154, 121, 122. What's the number? 20 entries.
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
What do you mean shit sorry? As in you're not right, this is Eve. So what, like you're supposed to be saying the truth? But here she said, wait, she said yes. Okay, 35 entries. What if I say yes dot? Because if it's like an exact sentence, you do this, right? Aha! Because if it's a lie detector test, you have to be saying like yes or true, false.
Yes.
Is that all it's gonna be?
Yes.
Okay, well if I don't if I don't hear the questions,
Yes.
that doesn't really help me, does it?
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's gonna fill out the thing at least. Okay, so no. It had to be exactly no.
No. No. No. No.
Okay, well there it is. That's most of them. Would she say like true? No. What about false? Well, I've been playing this for like probably over 5 hours at this point. I've looked up pretty much like every word I can think of. I feel like I've got a pretty good idea of what happened. I guess they really were twins. I mean, we've seen most clips at this point. I'm only missing maybe like 10. I mean, by now we can kind of piece together what happened, right? They were twins, and then both of them saw the Simon for a while. And we did see the main important thing. The thing about the throat being cut, like that was pretty much an admission of killing him, right? Like they were both seeing him. Eventually Hannah started being jealous. She didn't want to share him anymore, so she started just seeing other people. But then Simon met her kind of by accident in a bar, and then I guess he brought her back to the house. They had sex there. She got pregnant on the first attempt, like she said, magic sperm. And then she told Hannah that it was just one of her boyfriends. And then Hannah wanted her to move in with them and like to tell him the truth. And then I guess she did it. But like she put on the wig, so she was like pretending to be Eve at this point. And then she got upset because she realized that he was probably the one who made her pregnant, because like he gave both of them the same mirror. And so she got really upset. She smashed the mirror, sliced his throat with the thing, and then I guess they rehearsed their answers so that their answers would match. And then like I think she disposed of the body, and then the other one went to the police when she found the body. Like they wanted to make it seem like, because in the first few like interviews it's just Hannah saying she doesn't really know what happened. I wasn't there, I don't know. And then as you get deeper in, you start hearing about this twin. She starts talking about Eve, and we get the full story of like this weird story of how they grew up together by switching places. And then at the end she says like, my sister has disappeared. You will never see her again. Are you going to arrest me? Her sister, I get at this point, she just vanished. Like she just disappeared. And because they've always shared a life they don't really have anything against her. I guess that's the idea. If there's any more to it, I don't really know. I would have to look up like a transcript of the full game, but I think that's pretty much what it is. What happens if you say you're done? Will I get a credit roll? Yeah. So you think you understand why your mother did what she did? Oh, so I'm the kid. I guess I'm the baby? And like I'm all grown up looking into the database to learn what happened to my mother? Yeah. I'm glad, Sarah. I'll be waiting outside. Yeah, they did say they were going to call the kid Sarah. Log off and we can meet over the road. SB. SB. Viva Seifert. I feel like these are going to be very short credits. There can't have been that many people working on this. Well, this will be a much longer video than I had anticipated. I'm not really sure how to feel about it. I already knew going in that this was a very divisive game. I've seen people say that they didn't like it at all. Some people really liked it, so I knew it was going to be... I think anytime you try a really unique concept, you're always going to get a very split down the middle audience. Some people will appreciate it, some people maybe not so much. It's always a risk you're taking by trying something unique. In this case, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about it. Like, I think it's cool that every player will kind of see clips in a different order based on their own search. Does it make for a satisfying reveal of this narrative? Not really. Like, I think maybe if they had controlled a little bit more, like the pace at which information is revealed, like maybe at first you only get access to the first few sessions, and then once you find some like keywords, you get to unlock later sessions and you get to discover kind of more of the story. Donnie Darko. I don't know who all these names are. Here it's almost like too open-ended. Like, I like the concept in theory. I'm not too sure about the execution. Sarah, if you're stuck, you could always try admin random. Admin random. Wait, what does admin random do? Here? Does it just give you like a random clip? Oh, it's a way to see the ones you've missed.
Thanks. Please find Simon. I love him so much.
I'm not sure I've even searched love this whole time. How did I never look for love? Wow, that's my mistake.
No. I mean, everyone loves Simon. He was so nice to everyone. He loves me. Cute. You must love them very much. What ages are they?
I mean, the odds of me actually finding a new clip are going to be very, very small.
What about us?
What about us?
Simon's parents offered to put me up, but I didn't think it would be a good idea. It would be too sad. Not right now. I'm staying at a friend's.
What was the other one it said? Like unlock something? Admin unlock. Query maximum now set to 15. Okay. It's gonna take a long time to see the ones I'm missing.
Well, there you go. How many kids? Hurt someone? Yes. But everyone thinks that from time to time, right? You just want to lash out. Do you have children? Sorry, yeah, I get it. Yes.
We're just missing 2.
I can take this stuff off now. Did I prove I'm innocent?
I guess you haven't. But it says 1 value missing, so can I see this one? Maybe you can never see it. I don't know why there's a value missing. There it is.
No. No, he wasn't wearing his wedding ring.
That's it. We've seen everything. So I pretty much had seen all the important ones like a couple hours ago. I didn't need to see all these yes, no, and like just a lot of these clips are kind of useless. But of course you don't know that until you've, you know, finished the game. So yeah, I like the concept. In theory, I think you could make a pretty compelling game with this concept of looking through a database, and like I'm sure some other game must have used that concept. Like, keep that same concept of looking through a database of footage and information, but maybe add a bit more interactivity, a few more game mechanics just to make the gameplay loop a bit more satisfying. As it stands, I don't want to say it's a failed experiment, like it's still kind of interesting, plus it's rather short. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't kind of left on my appetite a little bit. I was hoping for a bit more, like some bigger revelation or, you know. Because I don't think just because a story is interesting, you can tell it in any order you want. Like, think about a classic story like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings. If you were to just rip off every page of Lord of the Rings and then just like throw the pages down a building and then tell someone, go pick up the pages. And then you just have to pick up every page and read them in the wrong order. Like, I think you would get the gist of the story eventually. Does that make that story more interesting from seeing it in the wrong order? Not really. Like, there needs to be some structure around the order in which you learn these information. I hate to always bring it back to Outer Wilds, but Outer Wilds is such a masterful mystery game where it's this very open-ended mystery, but there is still a structure around the order in which you find the information. Like, it still kind of funnels you in a specific direction because some information is locked behind other information. Here it's just completely open. Like, you just have to find the right word and then you see like piece number 50 or like 20 of the story. And so my verdict is gonna be interesting experiment, not quite what I would call a good game, but that's just my personal opinion. But I would love to hear your thoughts. What did you think? Was this a game you'd played before? Are you maybe experiencing it for the first time with me? Either way, please leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you think this works as a concept, or do you think maybe it left you a bit wanting more? For me, even though I didn't think it was a great success, I'm still glad I got to play it. Because there's stuff to love in everything. Sometimes I'll watch a movie and I think that wasn't a really good movie, but I'm still glad I got to see it, you know? So anyways, that's going to be it for me today. I want to say as always a big thank you for having joined me for this very long video. If any of my patrons are watching this, I want to say a big thank you for your support. And until the next time, I did have fun playing this. I hope you had some fun watching it, and I will see you in the next video. À la prochaine.